Hello and welcome back to the MMA Split podcast for UFC Vegas 69, I want to say.
I'm the wrong person to ask today, Matt.
We're
Probably.
gonna
It's about
go with
right.
69,
It's a
but
fun
it's
number.
main and it's headlined in the main event by Derek Lewis taking on Sergey Spivak. And if that sounds familiar, it's because we were meant to have this main event a couple of months ago, a few months ago. Fell out last minute. Derek Lewis got COVID, couldn't compete, was hospitalized. We are now getting this fight on the fight that also has all of the road to UFC fights headlined. Is that correct? On the prelims?
To be honest, I haven't watched Road to UFC. I haven't got around to it yet. I've been very lazy. I've had a very busy week. I don't know if they already did the winners and these are just debuting, or if this is actually like Ultimate Fighter finale style. Um, but either way, I've been caught short by a lot of debutants I really don't know enough about at this stage.
Yeah, this is we're going to be pretty good on the main card, and then there's going to be about a 4 or 5 fight stretch on the prelims where we are literally guessing. As you could probably tell from my voice, I was not the most confident on even knowing what was going on with Road to UFC. I only knew that these guys were headlining from Road to UFC when you mentioned it to me. So if you do want a little bit of extra info on some of the prelim fighters debuting, watch Road to UFC on UFC Fight Pass.
And if you've already seen it, this is a very good week to drop your picks into the comments because you've got a huge 5 fight advantage over us there.
Yeah, on top of this, I'm really confident that you and me might actually finally, you and I should say rather, might finally get some separation on our picks league because 4 of mine are guesses. I haven't looked at yours, but I can only assume that there's no way that all 4 of our guesses are the same. Just absolutely no way. I can't believe that. And I think we might be different on a few of the main card fights as well. I am, of course, one half of this podcast hosting duo, Matt, joined as always by Josh, who you have already heard. So my introduction is uh, absolutely pointless. But before we get into it, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the new channel we are phasing across. We are relaunching the channel on the MMA Split podcast. Videos will still be released on both channels for the next couple of weeks, but we will be phasing out. And good to see that a couple of you guys have already jumped across and subscribed to the new platform, to the new channel. Hopefully, we will see all of you across there very shortly. With that all out the way, let's talk about this main event. Did we discuss this? Did the fight? Yeah, we must have discussed this when this fight first got put together because that
Yeah,
one fell apart literally like the night that the same day that the card was happening.
yeah. I mean, the
And I'm
first I knew about it was watching the prelims.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure this announced at the top of the broadcast. So I can't remember who I picked last time.
I'm pretty sure we both went Derek Lewis.
Could very well have
I'm
done.
pretty sure.
I'm pretty tight on this. It's like, is it going to be the same Derek Lewis, the starch blades, or is it going to be the guy on a bad run of form? And
There's also a guy on a bad run of form that's getting a little bit older, is out of that title picture. There was that swan song leading up to the, fight against Cyril Gane, where everyone was thinking he's got a chance, already had the win against Ngannou, and it's gone wrong for him very quickly. The thing that I would say, 3 fight losing streak, who has he lost to? He's lost to Cyril Gane, who is very possibly the next undisputed heavyweight world champion. He's lost to Tai Tuivasa, who he was beating, but Tai just is basically a Derek Lewis in himself, iron chinned, knockout power himself, was able to fight fire with fire, caught Derek Lewis and knocked him out. And then he probably, in my opinion, went with a little bit too quickly into the Pavlovich fight, didn't give himself enough time to recover after the knockout from Tai. And even in that fight, like it wasn't looking good for him. But, a lot of people could argue it's an early stoppage. And again, Pavlovich is an absolute monster puncher. I mean, just knocked out Tai Tuivasa. So you look at Sergey Spivak, and it's hard not to feel like he's got one route to win this fight. And it's not that I don't think he could take Derek Lewis down. It's that aside from DC, Derek Lewis does pretty well against wrestlers.
Yeah, um, it's got me. Got me kind of thinking either way. But I think I'm just kind of leaning Spivak. He does look uh like the complete package when he's completely on form. It's just obviously Derek Lewis has that game changing power, has the savvy and the ability to land these monster hooks and uppercuts. I just I don't know. I'm leaning Spivak on this one. I don't want to change my mind. I'm glad that we've gone different on this one. Part of me was thinking, whatever you say, I'm just going to pick the other one. So I'm quite happy that even though we're having to send our picks over blind, it's kind of panned out that way.
Yeah, I can understand. I think the cool thing with Spivak is particularly in the last two or three fights, it feels like he's really leveled up. I don't feel that the Spivak that we see on Saturday is the same guy that lost to Tom Aspinall, for example. That being said, I'm a huge Derek Lewis fan. I have to back my boy because 3 fight losing streak. I just feel like, excuse me, those are the moments where he rediscovers his form. He's had bad losing streaks before. When he lost the title fight and when he lost to JDS, he tends to bounce back well. I think this is a good matchup for him to do it. Oh man, my voice is fucked. Lost my voice there. Give me a sec.
No problem.
Talk for a bit.
Yeah, well, I'll just carry on from what you're saying here. Like, I cannot count Derek Lewis out of this fight at all. And it was early on in his training camp. It's going to be interesting to see what he weighs in at today. But he did look like he trimmed down again. So he's definitely at his best when he's a little lighter on his feet, doesn't carry the same kind of back problems. And obviously, you're fueling it with cardio. It just makes for a better fighter.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like Derek Lewis gains and loses motivation with this whole keeping his weight under control thing. There's periods where we've seen him come in at 250, and then he's talked about, oh, I'm going to keep doing this. And then his next fight, he's back at 264. And certainly the last couple of fights, it feels like he hasn't, I'd say since he lost the Cyril Gane fight, I think that kind of killed his motivation. And obviously he had the win against Chris Daukaus. But again, he was, cutting down to 265 to make that. If he's actually lost the weight, I think he's focused. I think he's motivated. I know he says he doesn't care about titles and all the rest, but he's not stupid. He knows he's 38. He's running out of time to make the maximum amount of money he can from this and potentially have one more run. And he also knows that takes the right lineup of opponents. I favor him here. I'm happy with my Derek Lewis pick. It's slightly influenced by being a fanboy, but I think he gets it done. Let's talk about the co-main event.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, not kind of like the biggest names, but I'm kind of excited for this main event. Co-main. I actually think the whole main card's pretty fucking decent. To be fair,
It's there's no fight that falls below a 6 out of 10, and I'd say that. I mean, at least 3 7s. Main events is 7. I'd say this one's a 7. It is weird that it's a co-main event, but there's something about Devin Clark that the UFC seems to like. They've given him a main event slot before against Anthony Smith. They've given him a couple of other co-main events and fights that you don't necessarily think they would have given him based on his own record and the people he's fighting. I like Clark for this fight. I do. It's been a bit hit and miss recently, but I feel that the Dustin Jacoby, I hate saying that name because I always get the fucking first letters mixed up. Dyslexia. I feel that he kind of exposed Jung as having some holes, that he's not quite there. And we've seen that before. We saw that with the draw against Sam Alvey, but then obviously he put together a nice little win streak. Everyone starts getting hype behind the guy. I think a strong wrestling base can disrupt him. And I think Devin Clark is not going to be stupid. He's going to move around. He's going to look to get on that single leg, get on the double leg, get the fight to where he's got the best opportunity to win it. And I don't think he's going to be looking to hang out in any kind of boxing range. I think Clark gets this done.
nice. I'm going for Darren Young. This is Clark's first fight since getting his mouth messed up, right? That was the Mozakano fight.
I feel he's had one or two since then. Let me double
Man, maybe
check.
was it the Kutalaba fight then? Jesus Christ, I'm so hungover today.
Yeah, it must. I think it's the Kutalaba fight, man. Or it's either the Kutalaba fight or no, it must be the Kutalaba fight.
I miss Sly.
Yeah, I know. It's so good to have him look this stuff up. No, he lost to Kutalaba, then he beat William Knight at heavyweight, and then he lost to Mirzakhanov, which I don't think there's a lot of shame in, personally. Mirzakhanov's a beast, pretty scary guy. Yeah, I think Devin Clark can bounce this one back. I still don't think he's ever going to be elite, but I think he's better than where Jung is at the moment.
Um, yeah, possibly. I'm sticking with Jung. Um, yeah, I haven't really got too much more to add on this one. Sorry, Matt.
Ah, you're all good. Let's move down to some heavyweights. Marcin Tybura taking on Blagoy Ivanov. Another fight that is seriously hard to call. My pick is Marcin Tybura. I I really think Marcin Tybura is better than his record suggests. He's never looked bad in any fight, even the ones that he's lost, and he's always got a chance. He's well rounded. He's mentally seriously tough. The thing that worries me with the Ivanov fight is, I mean, Blagoy Ivanov is as hard to finish as any human being, and as mentally and physically tough as any fighter that you're going to have to deal with. You're not going to break him. You might not even wear him down. I just feel like Tabura's got a little bit more size, a little bit more ability to dominate with the wrestling. And if the wrestling negates each other, I think Tabura is just a little bit more polished on the feet.
Yeah, to be honest, I just think Marcin Tybura is a much better fighter. Like you say, he is a lot better than his record. Blago Ivanov, um, still a solid fucking heavyweight, good fighter. Just I want to say he's a fair bit older than Tybura, or at the very least, he looks to have got a lot more miles on the wheels, as it were.
You know what? I looked this up and I thought exactly the same thing. And
They're
this
probably
blew my
quite
mind.
close, though, aren't they? Because Tybura is not that young.
Tabura's a
Tybura
year
is, yeah.
older. Tabura's a year older, man. He's 37 and Ivanov's 36.
Yeah, I'm still gonna go with put on more miles. So yeah, Marcin Tybura. I think he's a slightly better
Hey,
fighter. I think as long as he kind of moves around a little bit, doesn't get too static, Ivanov shouldn't really have too much of a chance to close the gap in ability on this one.
yeah, I agree. I'm going to Burrow, and that's our first match on the card. Takes us down to, hey, here's a name nobody's seen in a long time. Uh, Doohoo Choi. He's back. He's back
Korean
after a
Superboy.
4 year absence. 4 years away from the sport. Was he doing military service?
Oh, good
Must have been.
shout. I mean, he's around that age. I don't know. I thought it was just after having a bit of a miserable run after the Cub Swanson fight, I thought it was maybe just taking time away.
Well, he was meant to have a fight in 2021. That got cancelled. 2019 was his last fight, lost to Charles Jourdain. His last win, damn, his last win, you have to go back to 2016 before Cub Swanson.
Yeah, and it was a
Yeah,
real lightning run before Cub Swanson, and then obviously fight of the year, Hall of Fame fight now, isn't it?
correct.
So I always really rated this guy. I would love to see him do well.
Yeah, it's a weird one to pick though, because I'd love to pick him, but I just can't pick a guy that I haven't seen fight in 4 years. It's impossible to me. It's absolutely impossible to me. Off the run of form that he had. I'm trying to look up. I can't see what kept him out of the cage. I mean, no, I can't see it. My guess, I think to you, and this is just a guess, obviously shows how prepared we are for this
Flying
podcast.
this week. We're flying.
My flying this week, you've had work shit, I've had other shit. Um, yeah, I reckon 2 years was military service, and I think he had some injuries. That
Brilliant.
would be my guess.
No
That
doubt
would be
John
my
Anik did
guess.
his homework, so we'll find out tomorrow. Well,
We
actually,
will find
we'll
out
find out
tomorrow.
Sunday morning.
Yeah, this card's on stupidly.
Yeah,
Are we sure that this isn't in America? That this isn't in South Korea?
I know it does feel that way, right? Everything I've seen,
It really feels. It
sure it's
really feels
Vegas.
like South Korea. Yeah, it is Vegas, but it makes no sense to me. It's like even the time it's on. The time it's on is like 1 in the morning, East Coast time.
Yeah, it must still be kind of trying to fit it in with like Korean schedules. So not just sorry Korea, but like just sort of Asian schedules. Got a few different fighters from a few different countries, but obviously a big Asian presence with the road to UFC.
And it is Vegas. It was Vegas 68. Vegas 68 for when you do
Cool.
the titles and all that, not 69. So that's my fault. But yeah, very late. So Sunday morning for us on that one. Right, let's get back to the fights. Okay, so we've both picked. Well, I'm picking Carl Nelson.
I'm going to Ho Choi. I'm loving this. We're
Oh mate, so
getting
different.
three different so far.
Okay, I think we're going to be the same on the opening fight of the main card. Yusaku Kinoshita taking on Adam Fugit. Man, I'm just going with the record on this one, man. This kid's on the main card for a reason. Kinoshita all the way.
Yeah, man. Also got Kinoshita, huge favorite on this one. I think did he come through Contender Series? Yeah, rather than Road to UFC.
Road to
But still,
correct.
a lot of debutants this week. Thankfully, a lot of them seem hype as fuck, so I'm still excited for it.
Nice. Well, let's start talking about these Road to UFC debutants. Kicking off with Jekka Saragith taking on Anshul Jubli. Josh, I know nothing about these guys. I've read nothing. I haven't even looked at the odds. So I might look like a complete idiot on these four picks. But I'm going with the undefeated guy. I'm going Jubli.
Perfect, man. I'm going Jekka Saragi. I'd love to be able to tell you more about why I've gone that way, but, you know, I'm an idiot. I'm hungover.
Hey.
I've had a very busy sales week with lots of events and drinking and whatnots. I didn't watch Road to UFC. Didn't see it. Fuck it.
Do you know what the great thing about UFC picks are compared to doing something like horse racing picks, man, is it's 50%. We got to, or actually with draws and no contest, 48. Let's say we got a 46% chance of being right. Those aren't bad blind odds.
Yeah. I'll take that.
Next blind shot in the dark. Lee Jeong Young taking on Yi Jia. I'm going Jia.
This is uncanny. I'm going Jun Young Lee. So we're already at 5 different.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah, pretty much. 5 different. Yeah, 5 different. Okay. Next, Toshiomi Kazama taking on Rinya Nakamura. I'm going Kazama.
Unreal. Nakamura.
This is insane. Okay. Can we be different on every single random Road to the UFC pick? Choi Seung-guk taking on Park Hyun-sung. And my choice was Park.
Damn it. Park Hyun-sung for me as well.
Okay, we got a match. Well, that's our Road to UFC blind picks over. Let us know how you do on these picks if you watch Road to UFC or didn't. See if you could be as right with no information as we might or might not be.
Yeah, see if you can look as smart as we definitely do.
Okay, back to fighters that we actually know. Ji Yun Kim taking on Mandy Bomb. I want to pick Kim, man, but there's so much about her technique. It's really nice to watch. She's clearly a well-trained fighter, but she just doesn't really seem to be able to, what's the word, deal any kind of damage. And every time I see her fight, she just gets kind of out. out physicaled a little bit, you know, out roughed up, you know, out punched, out hurt, out damaged. And for this reason, I got to pick Mandy Bum.
Nice. I've got to have a bit more faith in Kim. I just think having the whole, knowing that all the eyes back home are going to be on her, that her
True.
fans, from across the Pacific are going to be able to like watch him, tune in for this one. I think that gets her over the line. And it's been a lot of losses, but some really good fights. Fuck it, I'm a sucker for kind of a hometown hero. Again, this one's not in career, so yeah, Ji Yoon Kim.
All right. Next up, Park Chun Young taking on Dennis Teoliolin. It's got to be Park, man. And I am somebody that thinks Dennis is better than other people think. I think he's great. I think he's a good fighter. He got a good win against Jamie Pickett last time out. But you got to pick the turtle, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not
I
you
love
though.
this guy.
You are very welcome to pick Dennis Teoliolin if you want to.
Nah, bro, I am definitely going for the Iron title. I love this guy. Infectious smile on the walkout. I'm not always a huge fan of people walking out to the Rocky theme, but I just fucking love this kid. Iron title all day. But I agree with you, Dennis T. Lulin can be quite a dangerous guy, so I think this is a pretty fun fight. I'm kind of baffled that the three fights we've got kicking it off and then straight into road to UFC. But I guess the scheduling, that they just sort of think that these are going to be such great fucking fights, can't miss fights. They're just going to have so much momentum going into the main card. I hope I haven't jinxed it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when they do the UFC, the Ultimate Fighter finales, they usually start off with, they kind of spread those guys, across a little bit. So I don't think it's too weird. I think, put it this way, I think it would be. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they think it's tough for two guys to both debut and start the card, but ah, who knows? Either way, Tatsuro Taira is kicking it off, and he's going to be beating Jesus Aguilar, in my opinion.
Yeah, probably the biggest favourite on the card. Gotta go for the whiz kid, Tatsuro Taira.
Yeah, we've hyped a lot about this guy already
Yeah.
for good reason. Good little card, not stacked, but I think the road to UFC fights make it intriguing. And then we've only got a week to wait until UFC 284 next week. That's a big weekend of sport
Yeah.
next week, man. Super Bowl, Premier League, 284, lot of shit going on.
Yeah, I've already booked the Monday off. And I promise I'm never
That's
going to do a
very.
podcast this hungover ever again.
Ah, I could barely tell. I could barely tell once we started recording. The only time I could tell was when you rang me beforehand. We're just like, yo, like, that's the sound.
Yeah, I've made
That's
like
the
5
sound.
phone calls today. I've got, got a meeting and another sales call this afternoon. Fuck my life. All right,
Uh,
bro.
quickly, before we shoot
Yes,
off,
sir.
do you want to talk about the announced fights, or do you want to sort of save that for a separate video? Let's save it for a separate video, guys. Gets us more views. We'll give you something individual on that.
Nice.
So that's our picks. Like, subscribe, leave your own picks, comment, leave your thoughts, opinions, feelings. All is accepted. Enjoy the fights Sunday morning, unless you're a person that stays up all the way through. And bye, Dave. Bye, Laurie. Bye, Trifo.
Bye, Laurie. Bye, Dave.